And with a whole new life comes a whole new build. A brand new experience awaits us in a class I've never played before. And I certainly do look the part. Look at that, my head's on fire. Got some awesome gear on from the revels. I'm ready. If it wasn't for the fact that I already messed up my alignment. But we're going to ignore that. I'm in Borderlands level 3. I'm about to move to Saltmarsh and maybe get some real leveling gear. But yes, we're playing Warlock. As you can probably already tell, let me put on the actual aura so you can see it. We're playing a Enlightened Spirit. That's the plan. We're going to be using this entire tree. I don't really have much gameplay yet because I'm still kind of putting all the pieces together. But what I do have is a plan of attack. And I do hope that you guys can perhaps give me some insight. Because like I said, I haven't played a Warlock before. Certainly not a melee Warlock. And people have already been laughing at me. So we'll see how that turns out as we go into the details, and I can kind of go through my thought process as we tackle this new experience and hopefully soon get some better gear. So as we go into the build, at least my first draft of the build, since I've never played a Warlock before, we should do so with the understanding, warning, small flashbang, there is some information we have to look into. We have this forum post right here that mentions that not all Eldritch Blasts work with all mantles, which is kind of important, right? Since I was planning to use my Celestial Aura to maybe work with the Exalted Angel. Turns out the Exalted Angel only really works with the Fiend. Welcome to DDO, I guess. We also have the Storm Electric, which would work for us, but we don't want to primarily focus the lightning aspect of our pact because we have light affecting both our pact, but also our melee damage, right? So we have to actually focus light more so than electric. But maybe we can go heart instead. Who knows? We have to look into it. We'll have to maybe do some testing once we get to that point, but that is long into the future. What is more relevant is, small flashbang, is the Warlock Celestial pick that we have done. It makes us not be able to be chaotic, which means no Harbinger of Chaos, no double strike, no +2 imbue die. Luckily enough, we have some tank here and +2 imbue die as long as we're lawful. Now, admittedly, I did mess up my lawful pick because my tieflings are cursed, so I may have to buy an item from the shop. But if you are going to do this, make sure that you are the right alignment that is appropriate for your pact to go with it. The Great Old One is probably quite good as well because it makes you able to be chaotic and it gives you acid, and it doesn't have the same big issue that Celestial has, which is reflex. A lot of evasion in the game, so we're going to have to pump our DCs quite considerably. However, we do benefit from Bless, which is something we don't get as Warlocks typically, and Prayer, which is going to alleviate some of my gearing issues and the lack of like lots of past lives that will help with the attacks and the damage and such, which is going to be really, really good. We also benefit from Holy Aura, maybe some freedom of movement, some gear alleviation there. Magic Circle against evil has its place. But more importantly as well, if you do pick something else, just make sure you keep aware of the reflex save and the quality of life that comes with it. Like Knock, for example, on the Great Old One is going to be really, really good, right? Now, Faye does have the Misty Escape, but also has reflex, but does give you Sonic, which makes you get Fate Singer as a possibility. And Fate Singer is really, really nice as well. I like Fate Singer a lot. Now, the Fiend is a little crazy because it does allow you to do what I wanted to do right here with the Exalted Angel, but it does require you to have a Fire Strip because otherwise every immune fire enemy is going to just walk all over you, which is going to be a problem. Now, of course, if you have an iconic, please go Dark Powers. Dark Bargainer is amazing. Greater Death Aura on a Dampier, so you can turn into an undead with Greater Death Aura while generating all the Enlightened Spirit stuff. That does sound absolutely insane to me. That's going to be amazing. Amazing tank, amazing sustain for free, basically. Hell yeah. If I ever pick up a Dark Bargainer, that's what I'm going to be doing. But what I will be doing for now, since I'm not a Dark Bargainer and just a simple tiefling with 81 points, 80 normal, 1 from the racial reincarnations, I'm going to spend that point right here. We're not using it. We're just using it to get rid of the notification. We will, however, spend most of our points in Enlightened Spirit, which is the quote-unquote melee Warlock, right? So we have the melee Warlock. We go all the way at least to 18 to pick up Celestial Spirit. I could be convinced to multi-class and not pick up Ultimate Enlightenment, although it is a lot of power there. But then again, so is Favorite Soul 1 for a particular clicky, a nice little trance, or perhaps something else. After all, there is another class level left. However, we are so stretched on universal, at least not on universal points, on enhancement points, without universal tomes to assist, that it might not be worth the effort. After all, what would we sacrifice? Everything has an opportunity cost. However, for now though, we pick up a single travel note and 3 out of 3 spiritual defense. Spiritual defense and the entire line of it is going to make our team very happy that we are around, because we're going to make them massively tanky. We're also going to make ourselves immune to magic missiles. We're going to pick up some light spell power and universal spell power. And then we are going to pick up a resist energies. Now, I'm not sure if this is a bug, but as you can see, it only makes it cheaper. So I think a singular point might just be enough to enable the ability, and then just use your spell points. You have them, use them. I don't think it's worth spending enhancement points to make something a little bit cheaper without any other benefits. Pick up some charisma, because we are charisma based. More benefits to us and our team, which is going to make them happy. Eldritch Burst is an interesting problem as well, because as you can see, the first cooldown goes from 8 to 6, and then from 6 to 5. So it is worth investing 2 points, but not necessarily 3. So I didn't, unless that's wrongly stated, in which case I will adjust. More charisma. Spiritual or spirit brilliance right here, as you can see, is going to make everybody get temporary hit points, including ourselves. So everybody is going to not only be tankier, but also get a lot of temporary hit points by being around us, which is amazing. Now, this is one of the big parts that we're going to build around, spiritual retribution. As you can see, it's going to be an imbue toggle that affects our Eldritch Blast, so our aura, but also our melee attacks with a 1d6 light damage that scales with spell power. That's going to be our imbue. It's going to be really, really good. Now, since we are so stretched for feats and everything, and class, I won't take evasion, probably. Who knows? I might change my mind on that. But if I don't, medium armor might be the play here, since we also get benefits for medium armor with things like shape vestments and such. Very similar to the Artificer if you go Battle Engineer, or not Battle Engineer. Is it Battle Engineer or is it the Renegade? One of them gives you benefits based on wearing heavier armor. So we might just take that page out of that playbook and enjoy it. I don't think it's going to be terrible. Besides, if it does end up being terrible, we'll just remove it and then place it somewhere else. Now, Spirit Burst or Spirit Blast has the same issue as Eldritch Burst. As you can see, nothing really changes except the cooldown, 865. So we spend at least 2 points and keep the rest to ourselves, so we can keep a nice 41. Beacon, however, is going to amp us as well as our allies. Shining Through is going to be an incredible tank ability. Just hit it and we won't die, which is going to be very, very good. On top of that, we have Displacement. Speaking of not dying, Displacement as an SLA, so we can use it pretty much all the time. It's only 6 spell points, so we are going to be clicking that often to make sure we don't fall over. Now, Tainted Scholar is important, because after all, we are scaling a lot of light stuff in the Enlightened Spirit, and Eldritch Blast does force damage. So by picking up a couple of points in Tainted Scholar, specifically Other Dark Blast, it makes that force portion evil, and that scales with light. Again, welcome to DDO, because the light spell power is apparently called Light and Alignment spell power, but they just shortened it to light as opposed to alignment for some reason, because I guess confusing people is part of the fun. But this allows us to scale light and do more evil damage, because evil scales with light, because light is actually light and alignment spell power. So yeah, we're going to convince, or at least convert that a little bit, so we have our electric damage portion and our light damage, or our evil damage portion, I guess, and then also our light damage, which all scales with light, except the electric, which will scale only with electric and universal. So there's some things to consider. We do pick up a pact die as a travel node, and this second one can be cut. I just don't know where else to put it, because I'm not too familiar with Vistani Knife Fighter yet, so we'll see how that turns out. Speaking of fighting with knives, though, we have to make sure we have 2 hit and 2 damage with Charisma, so we're picking up the Feywild stuff. We're also picking up Illusionary Weaponry, which not only is nice for leveling, since we can summon a sword that scales with Charisma, but also, even after that, it's a nice travel note, because we keep the enchantment that stacks with the Epic Enchant Weapon, which I recently upgraded, which is very, very nice. Speaking of Vistani Knife Fighter, I've never played Vistani Knife Fighter, and I'm going to be playing it with single weapon fighting. Now, most people are saying you should go 2-handed fighting, and I can, which is why I went 16 decks. or sorry, 14 dex, but a +2, that's going to be 16. So I could halfway take one of these charisma levels and just go dex, and then maybe I can switch some stuff around. If I want to switch my character up, if I really, really want to go two-handed weapon fighting. However, otherwise, it might be okay to just cut the dexterity to minimal and then simply go with Constitution 18, and then be even tankier, which scales really nice with the Enlightenment stuff, right? That gives us more temporary hit points and whatnot. But yes, for now, though, this is what I have. I am not sure if it is correct. We'll see how it happens. We got all the way up to 1 with blades. We know that rapid attack is broken. We have the haste clicky because it's broken. We have the Vistani knife fighting 1, 2, and 3 respectfully. Now, I do know I could go Undead Hunter. I instead went with Mist Stalker because I have an awkward point otherwise. But yes, because the Mist Stalker costs 2, the Undead Hunter costs 1. Maybe there's something else I could do here. I am not entirely sure what that would be because, again, I have no real experience with Vistani Knife Fighter yet, so I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. Celerity, however, is very good. Double Strike is phenomenal. I could cut the point here and maybe go into Double Daggers. Now, I am not fighting with 2 weapons, so Double Daggers, which seems really strong to me, might not be the play. What we could do is Single Dagger for more melee power, which is nice. It's not a terrible thing. However, for now, I just went with Pack Dice just because it's clean. But who knows? Maybe I'll pick up Double Daggers, or maybe I'll pick up more Mist Stalker for more defenses and immunity to fear. Who knows? Let me know what you guys think. It is my first draft. Speaking of first draft, because we are going single weapon fighting, we do need some balance up to a maximum of 7 to be able to pick up every single feat that is related to it. More about that later. We pick up the 6 jump, mostly because I have a +3 tome and a +1 from the guild buffs. My guild right now does not have a jump room, so I need to go for the +6. Otherwise, I could have stopped at 3. Because if your guild has the jump room, it's +3 from the jump room, +1 from the strength, and then of course +3 from the tome that you can get from a legendary saga. And then you only have to spend 3 points, which is very, very nice. Spellcraft, because it's spell power. And then of course 1 point in tumble, so we can roll and use magic device because it's used magic device. It does leave us with a bunch of skill points left. I am not sure what to do with it. I might pick up intimidation. It is a class skill. I might start picking that up. Who knows? If we are very tanky, I might be able to use this to get some ridiculous intimidate options. But since we are charisma based anyway, it's going to be a pretty high skill check regardless. So we'll see how that turns out, right? On top of that, we have the actual feats, which are going to be very important. Past life, not special feats. No. I need the other ones, which is not the spells breakdown. Where is it? Why can't I? No, that's that one. There you go. This particular app, like I said, this app has its moments. So let's actually get rid of everything else because I want to be able to take a look at the large list right here. Now, as you can see, we start off with single weapon fighting, Celestial Pact, Warlock, maximize spells because that's just really nice leveling early, especially since you can pick up the Feywild Dagger Throw or perhaps even a Consume, which is really nice with maximize spell. We also pick up quicken spell so we don't get interrupted since we're not picking up concentration, so that's kind of mandatory to pick up early. Now we also pick up improved single weapon fighting because we are single weapon fighting. Now we have piercing weapons since we're planning to use a dagger. So improved critical piercing weapon dagger. We have greater single weapon fighting. Very simple stuff. We do pick up an offhand versatility since we're single weapon fighting. If we were not, we would replace this with something else. Who knows what though. We have Pact Magic, Freedom of Movement, Pact Spell right here. So we can actually drop any potential items as we know of if we get them. We spoke about that a little earlier. What we did not speak about is the Eldritch Blast Epic, which is going to be amazing, which is on a different lane than the Epic Pact dice, which is also different. And those are going to be our bread and butter damage scaling into the early epics. So that's going to be really, really nice, which is also why we're picking up the overwhelming critical at 24 as opposed to 21. We have perfect single weapon fighting, also has to be slightly delayed as opposed to 22. We're picking up at 25 because I want to pick up the other epic feats first. 27, we could pick up a Wellspring of Power. I've never done that. It was recommended to me the universal spell power is going to be really, really powerful because it's going to allow us to double dip into our melee as well as all our packed stuff, which is nice. Arcane Warrior as soon as possible because the pulsating aura is going to continuously trigger this after all, right? So that's going to be really, really awesome. And then we have some Emboldened Spell because I'm a little worried about DCs, but if it's going to be fine, I might cut this for something else. Since we don't really have a Scion of a different, of light equivalent. I mean, there's Celestia, but it doesn't give us Imbue die. I have decided to go with Scion of the Plane of Air. It gives us Imbue die, some electrical damage, which is going to be nice. Some universal spell power, some electrical spell power, a little bit of dodge, a little bit of evocation spell DC. Now, of course, I would have preferred to just straight up get tankiness through the Scions of Plane of Fire. But then again, I would have to sacrifice this fire spell, because you would have to sacrifice value for fire spell crit damage and fire spell power. But maybe that's okay, because I'm not expecting to spell a lot of lightning spells. But if I do, it might be wasteful. But if I don't, maybe it's worth picking up, because it is universal spell critical damage as well. And the rest of the stats are just universal, which might be better than the dodge. So it really depends on how I'm going to be playing my character and which spells I will end up using due to my epic destinies or something, right? So who knows? We'll see what happens. Again, first draft, but it is definitely going to be a +3 imbue feat regardless. And then at 31, we pick up whatever embodiment you want, you know, Harbinger of Chaos, Embodiment of Law, because that's the earliest you can really take it. Because it has to be an epic destiny feat. I'm not going to delay Arcane Warrior. I'm not going to delay Perfect Destiny. I'm not going to, or Perfect Single Weapon Fighting. So which means I would have to drop Epic Pack Dice, which would be a waste since that's kind of like our big thing. So we can't really take it earlier like we normally do. So I'm going to take it at 31. But otherwise, it is what it is, I suppose. That's kind of the plan. I don't have any plans yet regarding my Epic Destinies. As you can see, I have picked which destinies I might want to take, which is, I'm doubting, between Exalted Angel, because it does give us Angelic Charge, which is really cool, and it gives us some healing. The Destiny Mantle sadly doesn't work, which is a bit of a bummer. But yeah, I do like the idea of having Angelic Charge, so I'm looking into that. And besides, it's very, very much on theme, which might not be a terrible thing. It does give us more light spell power and universal spell power as well as some related bonuses that we would be benefiting greatly from. We have Primal Avatar, which does give us access to some benefits as well. Now, if we were the Great Old One, we could take maybe some, you know, some acid-based spells, but more importantly, had we gone with the primal spells, Shardstorm would be really good for the Great Old One, because if you upgrade that, you get double damage and 25% maximum hit points, where the hard version is uncapped dodge, which is not super exciting for us, and Sky, which would be the lightning version, as opposed to the quote-unquote light version, also not super exciting. So I'm not sure about Primal Avatar, but if we do go with the mantle of Primal Avatar, which is, of course, maybe Hearth, which is going to give us a lot of cocoons, a lot more tankiness, a lot more support for our friends while also doing light damage. So there's a benefit there. We could actually go with Shared Mantle, which is when we are using the mantle, is going to give us 3 imbue die. So that might be very good. So I'm probably going to end up using a Primal Avatar. I'm not sure though. Macrotech, since we are lightning, does have some benefits. We do have Galvanic Strike or Galvanic Blast here, which is kind of cool. If we then end up buffing that with something like a Blast Drive, we also supercharge ourselves, which is good because that's an action boost to movement speed, and we don't really have a lot of movement speed without things like Angelic Charge. So maybe this could be our solution, while also doing a lot of lightning damage. On top of that, I get my favorite hammer back, which is really, really nice. We could go into tankiness, but I don't have a rune arm. I don't know if there's a rune arm angle here for the Warlock. I think that's kind of pushing it. We do have a lot of options to enhance our spell DCs, which, as we know, is going to be very important since we have a reflex save. So I might just go evocation then on the Macrotech, and I can also pick up some more imbue die. So I feel like Macrotech might actually be quite potent. I think there might be some angles here to at least take it as a secondary one. Now, Draconic Incarnation does have the Dragon Breath, which is really cool. We can take the Blue Dragon Breath if we wanted to. I don't really think that there is a light. There's a negative one, but that's different. We could go for the electric one, and then we can upgrade it later perhaps for an Energy Vortex or just like a nice AoE. But more importantly, it does give us access to a nice 3 Imbue die as well. Maybe some additional tankiness, some natural 1 protection. There are things to do here that we can most certainly benefit from, but I'm not sure. They all kind of seem to do something I want, but nothing really hits the mark. So I would be open to some significant suggestions regarding my build. These are the 4s I'm currently looking into, but maybe I should go beyond. I know people like Quick Cutter. I refuse. I know Legendary Dreadnought is a thing. Maybe I should be looking into that. Maybe, you know, Legendary Dreadnought might be having some really good, powerful benefits as well. I haven't really looked into it because it feels more like a pure melee Destiny, but who knows. Either way, that's my current plan of attack. I have no spells planned or anything other than just, you know, Eldritch Blast, Aura, and auto-attacking. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. Thank you all so much for coming onto this journey with me. A new life, a new build. Hopefully this makes sense. Let me know. I'll check the comments. I'll see you guys on the other side. Have a good night. Take care. And I am out.